What's up, tribe? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Cartel Crew Season 1, Episode 2. So, um, we pick up this episode. In this episode, again, we're learning more about our characters. We get introduced to a new, I ain't gonna say characters, people, in their lives and their background with the narcos lifestyle. And we get introduced to a new character. I say character again. A new person this episode. But we start off with, we had the fashion show last week. We'll get back to that in a minute. But Marie and Michael are meeting up with the business partner of Pure Blanco. And, sorry, y'all. And Marie wants to talk to them about becoming a partner in the business. And she's like, I've been grinding. I've been hustling. I put that whole fashion show together. I deserve a piece of the action. I deserve a percentage of something. Well, Michael and his business partner sort of laughed at her about it. And they were just kind of like, yeah, that's something we'll have to talk about. The partner, I forget the guy's name, but the partner, Mikey, something. Is it a Mikey? I hope it's not Mikey. I can't do another Mike. But, sorry. So, but he was like, look, put together a PowerPoint presentation or something. You got to put together a presentation and basically, I guess, try to convince us why we should let you be a part of the business. And she gets really pissed off. She's like, so I got to put a PowerPoint together? She was like, screw y'all. Like, I've been hustling. I've given my blood, sweat, and tears just like y'all have. And at the very least, y'all should cut me in. And I don't think I should have to beg for it. And she walks up out of there. And she tells Michael, well, you get home the best way you can. He was like, I got Uber. I was just laughing because, that used to be a really big threat. You leave somebody somewhere. You be like, get home the best way you can. I'm gone. But I guess nowadays with Uber, all right, bye. Anyway, I thought that was funny. So, and we find out later on in the episode, we see Michael talking to what is his name? Milky. It's not Mikey, it's Milky. We see them talking later on and come to find out, they ran the streets together. They were out there hustling, selling drugs, and Michael's thing was, when you've done stuff with somebody, like the type of things that they've done with each other, it's a level of trust there. He said, what Marie doesn't understand is this is something that we talked about long before she was in the picture. When we was out there hustling on the street, talking about going legit, talking about what we're going to do with our money and all of that. These are the things we talked about. Starting our own, clothing line. This is something we talked about. It goes way back. And she doesn't understand that. Like, she makes, I get that she's working and she's helping us build this brand, but she just don't understand how deep me and this man go and how far back we go and how deep this dream was for us. And so it's hard for them to feel like cutting her in on something that is really like a baby to them. And so I can see it from that point of view. Now, from Marie's point of view, her thing is, I gave up everything to be with you. My family disowned me because they don't understand why I would want to date Grizel Blanco's son, and I don't have them. So God forbid something happens to you. Now, I was thinking she mean die. She said go back to jail. And I was like, well, that's probably not something you should want to say because he's legit now. So you probably don't want to talk about him going back to jail. But I understood her point. She said, God forbid something happens to him tomorrow. I have nothing. My family's disowned me. He's gone. I don't own any percentage of the company. I don't have any income outside of whatever it is that she does. We haven't really quite gotten to that yet. And so I see her point of view too. And, he talked to her. He was like, look, it's me and you. He said, you don't have to worry about that. It's me and you. He said, I've been hustling my whole life. I've had to take care of myself my whole life. So I get it. He was like, and you know what? When people leave your life and people not a part of your life anymore, you just got to keep it moving. He was like, so, and I understand where both sides are coming from. I just hope they can come to a happy medium somewhere in the middle. Because her point is valid. Something happened to you, I have nothing. Because the business doesn't automatically come to me. The business stays with your partner, depending on how the paperwork is written and stuff. So, anyway. So, I saw their point on that. So, Miss The one that does the tattoos. Oh, not Stephanie. Y'all, let me get these names. Anyway, she's at her tattoo shop, and we meet her one of her the guys that work there. Name is Los Los. I wrote his name. Now his name I wrote down. But he's a new character. Los, yeah, Los, Loz. Um, he's new, being introduced to us this episode, and we find out he has a Mexican heritage, and he said that a lot of his family is still affiliated. And he was like, I really can't even get into too many details because I can't really talk, because if you talk, you know how they go. He was like, I could come up dead. He was like, but I was in that lifestyle. I was out here doing a lot of things, and then my brother died or was killed, in the lifestyle, and that made me get out of it. He said, and I just never want to go back to that. And there was a guy there getting tattoos, and he had all of these different, he had Scarface, he had El Chapo, he had all these people on him, and he had Griselda. And, Los was like, why are you glamorizing these people? He was like, these people created, they put a lot of carnage in their way. Like, these are not people we should be out here glorifying. And him and the other young lady, they had a really good conversation. And she was like, she said, for us, we have choices. And for people of our age group who decide to go into that lifestyle, that's one thing. She said, but for our parents and that generation, they were trying to eat. She said, and when you're starving and you haven't been able to feed your children, you got a decision to make, you'll do some things too. And she was saying how when she went to Colombia as a child, she was like, I saw real poverty, and I saw where it came from, and I saw why people went into the drug business and why they made the decisions that they made, because that's real poverty. When you ain't ate in 5 days, or you haven't been able to feed your children in 3 or 4 days, those are decisions. That's real. So it was a good conversation. Again, we got a lot more background into this whole lifestyle and everything. All right. So then we see little Miss Nicole. Nicole hooks up with her friend Allie, and they rehash what happened at the fashion show. And she said, I want to talk to Marie because I felt like I was set up. She was like, those were Marie's friends, and I felt like she knew what they were going to do. She knew that they were going to come at me with all of that. And, I want to talk to her about it. And so her friend Allie was like, well, for her to come at you with that badge, word on the street is that her father, talking about Stephanie, not Marie. She said word on the street is that her father was an informant, and that's why he got short jail time. Well, y'all know them some fighting words. When you start talking about somebody being an informant, you start talking about somebody snitching and who got short jail time and who didn't. She was like, those are some fighting words, because what Nicole's thing was like, my uncle, he works for the NYPD. It ain't my fault. I ain't had nothing to do with him working for the NYPD. It's not, it had nothing to do with me. I had the badge. She was like, I didn't even remember posting it. But I posted it on my page, so I'm not trying to hide from it. She was like, she had time to go back and find it from 3 years ago. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, that's a bit much to be stalking somebody's IG page. To go back for 3 years worth of pic, that's a lot. Because Nicole's like the type of person that be posting probably 5 selfies a day. That's a lot. But like I said last week, we know who really gave her that picture. But anyway. So she said, yeah, you know how they do. Well, I'm going to talk to her. I know I need to have a conversation with her. Yeah, we need to talk. Because I felt like I was set up and I don't appreciate it. And now I found out that Stephanie's father was a snitch. Oh. So now she felt like she got some ammunition, right? She got a little battery in her back now. Now, Miss Stephanie, now I thought they said last week she was signed to Young Money. Now, come to find out this week, she's trying to get signed to Young Money. Like, they've sort of probationarily signed her, I guess. But it's not formal yet, I guess. But she's doing a performance. She's performing at the Lil Yeezy, Lil Wayne concert or whatever in New Orleans. I guess they do it every year. It's like a little, a festival or whatever. And she's performing there. Betty Wright is her vocal coach. You can't go wrong with Betty Wright as your vocal coach, honey. And this girl can sing. Like, she really can sing. She's a Latino artist. And so she's talking about this performance and how important it is. And she said, this was my mom's dream. But because of the cartel, she wasn't able to fulfill her dream. Like, she couldn't be out there, living up her dream of, singing and dancing and performing because of my father's lifestyle. So she said, I'm really doing this for, I mean, I want to do it for me, but I really, do it for my mom. And, you know, we see her, she goes to New Orleans, and the whole time she kept talking about her mother not being there, her mother not being there. And I was like, is her mom, at first I was like, is her mom dead? Like, why can't her mother be there? But then come to find out her mother is terrified of flying. Like, she is just petrified of flying. And so that's why she wasn't going to come. So when she was walking, she went through her rehearsals, and Tad is with her friend, the one that has a tattoo shop. She's with her. She left her son with the father, and she said, he's on house arrest, and I'm still trying to, get comfortable with leaving him with his father, but he has a right to spend time with his dad, and I want to be here for Stephanie. And so they're walking into the area, like the backstage area where she's getting ready to go to her dressing room. She walks in and her mom is sitting there. Honey, I about like to cry myself. And of course they were boo-hooing and everything. And she said, that's how much I love you. She said, I took 2 planes to get here. So I said, dang. She couldn't even get a straight flight. She had to get a connecting flight. And so, she said that just meant so much to me, because I know that it took a lot for my mom to get on those planes, and so she was like, it just meant a lot, and it was great. It was a great moment. It was cute. And she performed, and she did good, honey. She looked good. And Betty Wright was like, when you get on that stage, you got to give it to them quick. She said, because the minute they see you, they're going to assume you can't sing because you're cute, because you're beautiful. They're going to assume you can't sing. So you have got to give it to them quick. Like, boom, hit them with it as soon as you walk on stage. And she did a good job. I was impressed. I thought she did good. The crowd, the way they edited it, the crowd looked like they were into it. She did her thing. She looked nice. And it was cool. Her mom, it was so cute to see her mom. Her mama was backstage getting it. You couldn't tell her that her mom wasn't, you couldn't tell her that her daughter wasn't Beyonce on that stage, honey. She was getting it. Do you hear me? Getting it. Alright. Okay. So Nicole and Marie have their sit down, honey. And at first, Marie was like, everything was Nicole's fault, and she was, had an attitude. She was like, she disrespected me, and she started that. Now, I'm going to say this, Miss Marie. Nicole didn't start that. Stephanie started that by confronting her about that police badge bullshit. And I know it's not bullshit to y'all. I'm just saying bullshit. She could have waited till after the fashion. I mean, she could have waited till a different event. She could have called her. But she did wait till after the show was over. But she approached Nicole with that. And Nicole responded, and it escalated. So the original argument really wasn't Nicole's fault. And I don't feel like I'm going to be defending Nicole a whole lot. But on that one wasn't Nicole's fault. Now, the way Nicole is choosing to handle it is her fault. So, they're at lunch. And Nicole starts off with an apology. I said, okay, all right. She said, I apologize, for letting things go there. And I apologize for disrespecting you. She said, but I feel like I was provoked. I feel like I was set up. And she went on to talk about, why she felt that way. And Marie's thing was, I hear you. She said, but here's the problem. The reason why people came at you the way they did is because nobody believes your story. So it sounds like they believe that she's just like faking the funk, pretending like she's got a cartel background, I guess to either be on the show or to have a storyline or whatever. And she was like, nobody believes you. And so that's why Stephanie confronted you, because nobody really believes you that you have this background that you claiming that you have. And then for you to throw up a police badge, it makes us think not only do you not have that background, but you on the other side. And she said, you don't understand in this lifestyle what it's like to have the police hounding you. So for people to be proud of being connected with the police, we got to give them the side eye. So Nicole was like, okay, all right. She said, but, the police always have their inside man. Marie was like, okay, what you mean? She was like, yeah, we know that, people, she was like, yeah, well, we know the cartels have police on payroll. She was like, well, people on the inside. She was like, what you mean, like a snitch or something? What's she trying to say? Well, all I'm saying is, word on the street is, Stephanie's father, he got short time. Honey, Marie said, hold up now. She said, that's not a game you want to play. She said, we don't talk about people's time. We don't talk about how much time people did. You don't want to play that game. She said, that's dangerous territory. She said, and what you know about how much time her father did anyway? You doing research? She said, well, she had time to do research on me, so I did some research on her. Valid point. Marie said, well, do some research on my father. What you know about my father? Did you do some research on my father? Next thing I know, honey, she started throwing salads at the girl and ice and drinks and, they broke that up. But, of course, I told y'all last week that was going to be a big part of this storyline. But I definitely see where Marie is coming from. Honey, in them streets, you don't be talking about nobody's jail time. You don't be questioning nobody. Like, that's grown men shit. You don't get involved in that. That's their business. And Nicole, you don't want to play. Again, you don't want to play that game, Nicole. You don't want to play that game. All right, last but not least, we see a scene with Michael and Luz, Luz, the guy we that works with that's the tattoo shop. He said he's one of the best tattoo artists in Miami, and his artwork looked beautiful. Like, he did have some beautiful art that they showed. Michael has his own gym. He's into boxing, with some type of boxing, and they're talking, they're chopping it up, they're doing what guys do. And again, we learned a little bit more about his history. He loves his history. He was saying how he can't go back to Mexico. He said the area where his family's from is just hot. Michael's saying he can't go back to Colombia. He said the minute I step off the plane, it's probably $1 million bounty on my head. He was like, it's a lot of people there that want me dead. He said, so I can't never go back. And he was talking about, and so Luz was talking about what made him get out the game. He said his brother was dismembered. So his brother wasn't just murdered. His brother was dismembered. He said, and I will never forget the screams of my father when they found out. He said, I just can't get that out of my head. He said, so that's what got me out. He said, and I just ain't going back to that. I just can't go back to that. And Mike told him, he said, well, you always got a spot here. This is your home. Man, we good. We can always, you can always talk to me. And I thought that was really sweet. So that was pretty much it. It was a decent episode. It wasn't a whole lot of extra drama, but definitely got a lot of information, a lot more background about who we're going to be talking about this season. And I thought it was a good episode. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.